there are phenomena that are difficult to prove, such as premonitions. Although most are based on personal accounts, some are linked to global events. One of the best-known premonitions is found in a short novel written by the American author Morgan Robertson. Morgan went to sea as a child and, after finishing high school, served in the Merchant Marine from 1866 to 1877, becoming a first officer. He designed a submarine periscope prototype, but his patent was denied since a similar device had been patented 3 years earlier. After leading life at sea, he studied jewelry making at the Cooper Union in New York and worked with diamonds for 10 years. However, this work damaged his vision, prompting him to turn to literature. He wrote maritime stories and published his work in popular magazines. Robertson never earned much money from his writings. Many of his works were inspired by his life as a sailor, such as The Submarine Destroyer. He also wrote stories like Primordial, The Three Laws, and The Golden Rule. Throughout his life, Morgan Robertson claimed that his inspiration came from an astral collaborator, a spirit that guided and inspired his literary works. This was his only explanation for the extraordinary coincidences between his fiction and reality. In 1905, Robertson published the novel The Submarine Destroyer, which described a submarine using a periscope-like device. Later, Robertson was hailed as the inventor of the periscope, but a similar model had already been perfected and used by the United States Navy 3 years earlier. In 1914, he wrote Beyond the Spectrum, a novel predicting a war between the USA and Japan. In the story, Japan attacks American ships and attempts to invade San Francisco. The hero thwarts the attack using a weapon captured from the Japanese, an ultraviolet light beam that blinds enemy crews. The story foretells the conflict between the USA and Japan and the Pearl Harbor attack, which happened 27 years later. It describes an airstrike without a war declaration, with bright bombs falling from the sky on a Sunday morning in December, details eerily close to actual events. The novel The Wreck of the Titan, or Futility, described the sinking of the Titan in the Atlantic Ocean after hitting an iceberg on its maiden voyage. Strikingly, the ship closely resembled the Titanic, which would sink years later in almost identical circumstances. The story describes the Titan as a flagship with weight, length, and passenger capacity similar to the Titanic. Considered unsinkable and equipped with advanced technology, it offered luxury for millionaire passengers but had an insufficient number of lifeboats. The author claimed to have been inspired by a dream to create the plot, leading to media speculation about prophecies and curses. The Titanic was the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, but in 1912, its maiden voyage ended in tragedy when it struck an iceberg and sank in the North Atlantic. The Titanic was built at the Harland and Wolff shipyards in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Construction started in 1909 and finished in 1912. At 269 meters long and with a capacity of over 2,200 people, it featured luxurious cabins, restaurants, a swimming pool, a gym, and many other amenities. In April 1912, the Titanic set sail. On board were passengers from various social classes, from wealthy businessmen to immigrants seeking a new life in America. However, the ship struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic and, despite desperate efforts to save it, sank in less than 3 hours. Robertson died on March 24, 1915, at the age of 53, due to an overdose of prosciutide or mercury iodide. His lifeless body was found next to a window, through which he was gazing at the horizon in his final moments. At that time, he was staying at the Alamac Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey.